Hello friends, you're with a Lonesome Gamer, and today I'm playing once again Runebound by Fantasy Flight Games. I already did a video series about this base game, but because it's one of my favorite games, I find it absolutely amazing, I decided to do a second series, and this time I'm gonna play the expansion. It's the Island of Dread. And that's a big base game expansion. The story is placed in a coastal landscape. We have some new rules, some new mechanisms, new monsters, of course. And in addition to this, I'm going to use this small expansion here. It's called Shadows of Margath. It's a challenge card expansion, and it adds some more monsters to the game. So if you don't know Runebound, I suggest to watch my first video series where I explain the rules and also the solitaire rules that I use. In this second series, I'm basically going to explain the additions that come with the Island of Dread. Before I start with the setup, I just want to show you how to change this old landscape here from the base game into the new one. With the expansion comes this board. It's an overlay, and you simply replace the old one with the new one here. Fits fine. And now we got this coastal landscape, which looks pretty good, I think. Okay, so we're nearly done with the setup. As you might know, I did this in my video before, I place the adventure markers randomly on the board, and for that I use these little miniatures here, yellow, green, blue, and so on. And I don't take as many adventure markers as there are on the board marked here. Normally you should place one marker on every one of these crystals here, but I don't do this because I think in a solitaire game it makes sense to have less adventure markers, so that you have to travel the map a little more, because the less players you have, the more counters would be otherwise for you on the board, and the easier it gets to find adventures without traveling over the board. On the other hand, I use a little more adventure markers than I did in the base game. I use more adventure markers of the green and of the yellow colors, simply because you have these islands here, and it's pretty dangerous to travel between them. So it's not such a good thing if the hero has to travel too much at the beginning. I think that makes it a little easier for the hero if we have a little more adventure markers than in the base game. Okay, so finally the game is set. And you see here now The miniatures show where the adventures are. The green adventures are pretty much scattered across the board. You have nearly on every island 2 of them, while the others are more concentrated here on this main part of the board. So that's a little unlucky. It would be better if it would be otherwise around, but okay. Let's see what we can do with this. Here, these are the market stacks, and on this market stack here, that is a special one. It starts with 6 market cards, which is quite a lot, and that's the market stack of this town here, Terrianor, and that's a little isolated. That's here on a very small island. There's just this town on this island actually, and it's at the very corner of the board, so it's not easy to get there, and that's why you have so many market cards there. Kind of a reward. Furthermore, there are 2 market cards for every town. And in addition to this, we have a captain card in every city. And I will explain later how that works, because to travel between the islands you have to hire captains. Then these are our adventure cards. This is from the Island of Dread, and that is from the Shadow of Margath. And you might know this from my other games. If I have to draw from an adventure deck, I will roll a 6-sided die, and on a 1 to 4 I roll from this main deck. On a 5 or 6 I roll from the expansion. I draw from the expansion. Then we have this blue deck here, and that is something special that comes with the expansion. There are no blue adventure cards. These are sea adventures. You have to draw them when you travel, and you don't have any blue adventure markers here on the board. The goal of the game is to go to the Island of Dread, which is this thing here. To get there you have to find the way, and there are map tokens, these things here, and as a reward for killing these sea challenges, you will get very often one of these map tokens. And if you have a matching set, which means you have 2 tokens of a different color, I find that interesting, but so I don't know. Yeah, basically 2 tokens of a different color. Then you can trade that set to get to the Island of Dread, and then you have to fight one card after another until you come to the main villain. I don't know the name of this guy. You could also deal these special these map tiles for some special items. We have them here. These are some, well, more or less powerful items which you can take, and normally you use them once, then you have to discard them, but they give you quite an advantage. Okay, I start with this lady here, Mirala Goodtide, a gnome smuggler. can see her here. And she's actually, I think, from the Midnight expansion. You may increase or decrease an item's cost by up to 3, minimum cost of 1, whether it is an item you have or one you wish to buy. So that's a pretty interesting and I think a very powerful ability. If you think about it, you might buy an item and decrease the value, and then in the next turn it might be possible to increase the value, but I think that's not how it is meant. So I think you can actually once set the price for that of that item, and then it stays this way for the rest of the game. Otherwise it would be very easy to make some money here. She's got some special skills: diplomacy +2, sneak +2, swim +2, and tinker +2, so that's pretty good. No sir, there's not in that crate tall. And she has this ranged combat value of 4, does only 1 damage, a melee value of 1 with 1 damage, and a magic value of 5 with 1 damage. So that's pretty interesting. We can maybe do some tactics that we go on ranged combat and on melee. That might be a good idea with her. Here we got her miniature. Come on. Oh, come on. Yeah, that's better. Okay, well, I don't know. It looks okay, I guess. And she starts here at Trelton. And that is actually not so good. Because yeah, the problem is there are only two of these green adventures here, but they are more in the southern part of the island, so she has to travel down first. In a way it would have been better to start on one of the others, but okay, I did this randomly, so I could also try to travel maybe here to this Thai Highguard, but on the other side traveling is pretty dangerous, so I think that's not such a good idea at the very beginning. I'll use once again Mr. Skeletor's amazing solo rules. They're so fantastic. And I use this threat track here of the Midnight expansion, and it's set on 18. So after every turn I roll these 2 dice, and if I don't roll an 18, I will place one of these skulls here, and then it's in the next turn it's a 17 that I had to roll, and so on. And if I roll this number, which is down here, then this track here goes one step further. And if it comes up to 10, I lose the game. Okay, so I think we're ready to go now. So let's do the first movement roll. Well, maybe let's check that. Maybe we can actually stay there and buy something interesting. We have, for example, here the Gauntlets of Shadow. Activate to cancel 1 hit being inflicted on your hero. Well, that's a start. Activate to receive a +2 bonus on a sneak, hide, or escape test. Why not? We might do that. I mean, it only costs me 1, I think, yeah. So that's kind of an interesting idea. I think I do this. I think I wait here. I don't move this turn. And then in the end of the turn I have a market step. And I buy for 1 gold. I'll buy these gauntlets of shadow. Yeah. So this is my first armor. And they might be quite useful. Okay. Oh, by the way, it was a market step, so of course I'm allowed to draw another card. I forgot that. And that's the Lantern of Revealing. When you draw a green or yellow challenge, you may place it beneath this card instead of resolving it. Then draw another adventure card. If you draw a green or yellow challenge on a later turn, you may discard it and replace it with the challenge beneath this card. No more than 1 challenge may be beneath this card at any time. Well, that's also not a bad card, actually. That's tempting. I might buy them both. I'm a rich person. It's good to be a smuggler. I mean, yeah, why not? I guess I'll do it. So I buy this thing too for $1. Or 1 gold. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so now I roll for the threat track, and that's a 19, so that's a very bad start. It goes up right away on number 1. Okay, and now we come to another house rule of mine, which you might remember from the base game, to simulate the fluctuation on the market stacks. Every time this threat track moves on, I will roll for some items if they stay in the market or not. And until I challenged a yellow adventure, I roll for every item which is worth from 1 to 4 gold. Because normally at the beginning of the game no player has that much gold that he can afford the really expensive items. So let's check this guy here first. Oops. So that's a 10, and on a 10 it stays on the board. On a 1 to 5 it would go away. So I'll do this now for the different items. Okay, we were lucky, we didn't lose any item at all. So that wasn't a real good start. But let's move on now. So let's see, we want to go down here probably. So we might take the road here, which is a little faster normally. You can see that here there is a road which leads down here. Then we might go from here into the mountains of ash. Yeah, okay. So let's see, we got 3 road markers, 2 rivers or forests. That's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so I think we can just go here 1, 2, 3. Okay. And now we have to roll again on the threat track, and this time it's not that bad. And we place one of these skulls here now. Okay. We have, it looks promising actually. At least we have one mountain here and we have 3 streets. That seems to be enough. Yeah, okay. That's 1, 2, 3 and a mountain. Very good. So we can draw now our first adventure card. Let's see if it's from the Island of Dread or from the Shadows of Margarth. So that is a 5, so in this case it's from the Shadows of Margarth expansion. And it says Devours. Looks like straight from Arkham Horror, I think. So it says escape. If you succeed at an escape test, your hero takes wound equal to the number of let me see, what are these called? Yeah, I think this is exhaustion on this challenge. Melee, if your hero fails a combat roll during this phase, a Devourer grabs hold. Place 1 exhaustion on this challenge to represent this. What? That's odd. Oh, I see, you take damage and then it gets harder to escape. Ah, that's not good. It has 2 life points. Okay, that's... I think I'll try it anyway. Okay, so yeah, first I think we will defend ourselves. We won't attack during this ranged phase. So we will only defend ourselves, and this guy only does 0 damage, so nothing can happen here. And then we got this 15 damage here. So we need a 14 to defend. This is pretty hard, and we didn't make it. So now we take 2 damage, but I can use these gauntlets and then I take only 1 damage. That's pretty painful. Okay, and yeah, let me see. Yeah, and in addition to this, now one of these exhaustion markers comes on this card here. And now I can attack this guy, and I have a 5, so I need a 5 to hit. Yeah, that's not a problem. So he takes 1 damage too now. And then we do the same thing again. We defend ourselves during the ranged phase, so we don't have to roll. Then in this second phase, we need a 14. Hey, whoa, we have it. Great, twice a 7. Well, that's good, because otherwise this whole card would have been pretty expensive, because we had to heal 3. But in this case, we might actually gain some profit out of this. So now we have to roll a 5 to kill the Devourers. Oh yeah, that was close. I thought I've seen the 1 first and wasn't too happy, but that's a 10, so it's fine. And we killed this guy, and we gain 2 gold and 1 experience point. Very good. We need 5 experience point to level up. Okay. Okay, so now the next green adventure. Oops, where was this guy? I think here. The next green adventure is here on the Sunset Hills. So we have to cross this area, we have to cross the Skull Green Swamp, Mount Kismet, so that's not so great. Let's see. Oh, before I forget, I have to roll for the threat track once again. That's a 5, so that's okay. And now I'm wounded, and that means I'm only allowed to roll 4 dice. I'm actually wondering if it makes sense to go to a city first. I could actually go here to Dalek, and then maybe travel down here, travel down the river here, the Ostrom River, so that I can heal, because I've got only 4 life points, and it might be a little dangerous not to do this. Let's see. Depends on what I roll. Wow. Let me see here. Okay, let's check this. I think it's actually not that bad. We could either go to the city, that would be possible. We have 1 mountain, so we could cross here the Fire Cloud Range. We have 1 street, can go here, cross these mountain ranges, and then go to the city. That's possible. But we might be also able to go right there. We have the street, we have a swamp actually. We have a river. But it's not quite enough. No. We have a mountain, but then we don't have any hills. So I think in this case, okay, I think we should play it safe at the beginning. So I move here to Dalek, and I'll have now a market step here, so I can draw a card. And that is an ally. Girik, Tree Speaker. Well, that might be interesting, actually. We could afford him. We could heal and we could afford this guy. Movement step. If you end your movement in a non-town space without an adventure counter, Girik may take 1 exhaustion to allow you to enter a market step as if you were in the closest town. Well, that's pretty crazy. That's great, actually. If 2 towns are equally close, you choose which town. I think I will hire this guy. I need also some more life points, so he might take some wounds. That's good. So I pay 1 to heal. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not sure if I can do this. No, I can't. I can only decrease items cost. That's sad. Anyway, I think that's worth it. I think I won't heal. I simply pay 3 to get this ally. I think that's a pretty good idea. Okay, so that was an 11 for the threat roll, and then we can roll again and try to get to this encounter here. So I tried to travel now down that river, and that wasn't a very successful roll. On the other hand, we got 2 rivers here. So let's see. This is a hill. So we might use this hill. Then we got these 2 rivers. That would bring us down here. And then we have a plain or a mountain, doesn't really matter. So I guess I will go here. Okay, that's a 2. And now I don't roll, And if I don't roll the dice, I can move one space no matter what Terran type it is. So now I simply move here and I have my next adventure, a green one. So this is once again from the Shadows of Morgoth, and that's a Harpy Huntress. Ah, looks like an interesting adventure. Oh, it does. Any phase. If you are knocked out, do not move your hero to the nearest town. Instead, the player to your left moves your hero anywhere within 3 spaces. Reward, receive 4. Well, that's a lot. That's really cool, so it might be good to do this. But let me see, I'm not sure. On the other hand, I might use my Lantern of Revealing, but I have to check that. Okay, I gotta be honest, I think this is a little too tough. I will use my Lantern of Revealing, and that allows me now to place the card underneath this lantern, and in a later turn, instead of another challenge that I draw, I can then use this. So if I'm a little stronger, I might face her. I mean, she gives actually a 4 gold, but it's a little too tough for me. So let's hope now the next one is better. Again, I roll, and this time it's from the Island of Dread pile, and that is, well, that's interesting. That's a quest. So that says, Quest for Black Lotus. The shamans of Ulthik Isle use this deadly flower for many of their potions. Heroes harvesting the Black Lotus risk not only the swamp's hungry predators, but also the accursed influence of Asif Shipshah, which is, I think, the main villain. Take this card. If you end your movement in the Forgotten Mire swamp space, your hero may take any number of exhaustion and then place that number of exhaustion on this card. During a later turn, if you end your movement in Hardell, and this card has 5 or more exhaustion, receive 6 gold. Then turn this card face down and place it beneath your hero. It becomes a completed quest. Okay. So, I see. Okay, where is that? Let me see where that swamp is. Okay, now I see it's here on Ulthik Isle, and here's the swamp, and here's the city. So, it's not really... Yeah, it's basically on the other end of the map. But anyway, it's not too bad. We can keep this card. And then we have to draw another one. Let's see from which pile that will be. Again, the normal one. Oh, and there's the next quest. Quest of the Silver Key. Elves, stop you on your travels. Help us find the Silver Key and you shall be rewarded. Take this card. During a later turn, if you end your movement in a forest space, test Tinker. I think we have we have a bonus on Tinker. That's good. If you succeed, place a exhaustion counter on this card. If you fail, discard this card. If this card has an exhaustion counter on it during your marker step in Oris, receive 1 item worth $7 or less from the Oris market stack. Okay, Oris is here actually. Wow, it's not so far. Then turn this card face down and place it beneath your hero card. It becomes a completed quest. Okay, we have to do this in a forest. So that's not so bad actually. Maybe we have a chance to do this pretty soon. Okay, let's see. Let's try it again. And this time it says Whites of the Crypt. And it looks pretty good actually. Legends say that the Lord buried here Knew the location of the Island of Dread. Well, okay. Choose either blue or green. Oh, that's the reward. Okay. So let's see. How bad is it? No, it's not too bad. Yeah, I think we can do this. Okay, so yeah, that's interesting. I think actually okay, so what I'm gonna do is now he will attack in the ranged phase, Gurik Tree Speaker. So he has a 2 and this guy has a 10, so he needs an 8. Yeah, he's got that, very good. So here's 1 wound. And then I have to fight it in the melee phase. He's got a 10. I have 1, so I need a 9. That's an 8. That was bad luck. But it's not that bad. I will use these gauntlets. And yeah, and then I'll attack here in the magic phase. I have a 5 and he's got a 13, so I need an 8 again. And I have it. Very good. So I was successful, no damage here. Let's see now. First of all, we get an experience point. And then choose either blue or green and reveal 3 map counters from the pool. You receive any maps that match the color you selected, then discard the rest. What? Oh, I see. Oh, no, I get it. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't really matter. I say blue. And then we draw 3 random counters. That's the first one. Very good. And here we have the second one, and that's okay. And that's the third one. Okay, so that's okay. So we can take these 2 counters, but to have matching counters, we need counters of a different color. But that's a start. Okay. Okay, now we resolved all the green challenges here on that island. And that means we're probably got to go somewhere else. Maybe it's not that easy. Huh. I don't know. Maybe here on Garnet Island, take these 2 and then go up here. Or whatever, I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm gonna load this up now. I hope you enjoyed the first turns, and yeah, I hope to see you in my next videos. Until then, bye.